Testing, testing, testing. Do we have audio? Looks like we have audio. Let me go over here, check the live stream. Let's see. This thing on? Looks like we're on. All right. So I didn't get to my JavaScript work today, but I am going to look at Xcode stuff. We've been provided with a demo application for the iPad without any instructions on how to use it or compile it. They hopefully will be providing us with a, I guess a working app that we can install somehow on these iPads, but no instructions on how to compile it. All we got was a link to the repo, and that said it was there and it was working. So since I don't know how long it's going to take to get this build, I thought I might spend a little bit of time looking at Xcode for the first time and seeing what's up with it. Of course, I don't know if my Xcode is even up to date or even how to run it. So I've just pulled down the repo here. I'm going to close this one, and I guess I'll close this file. Can I close the project? And let me add, I'm going to make a new project. How does this work? Can I make a new project? Switch project? So I just make a new file and then add folders to this? I keep forgetting how this works. All right, so I make a new Sublime text project, and I'm going to add a folder to this project where I save the repo in my dev test WebKit. And there's stuff in here. Let me see, what should I call it? I guess I need to just open it. So there's the project. Now I should be able to save this project in I guess in here. Test WebKit. All right, and so I guess now I can look and see what's actually in here. I have no idea what these files are. In fact, let's take a look at them in the Finder window, just so I can get a better overview of this. And I know this is kind of a weird use of my time. Ordinarily, I'm not comfortable building for this kind of stuff, learning how to use something, but if you don't get any instructions, then I guess I could either wait another week, or I could just take a look at it and build them in an hour. Let's see. So it looks like we have some source files. This looks like a regular source file directory. Assets. This is probably some special, these are probably special directories used for some aspect. That's interesting. They've I guess they're incorporating some of the source JavaScript files here. There's an M file and an H file. I believe Xcode uses, what's it called? Objective-C, which is this kind of horrible variant of C++. I've avoided learning it forever just because of that. Tests, I don't know how these tests work. UI tests, I don't know how these work. URL, oh, that's my own project. There's not a whole lot in here. Web Rtc signaling, I think this is a library that they've included. Let's see if this is build, no. There's not a lot here. What's a storyboard in Xcode? So what I'm trying to do when I'm learning something new like this, I just try to get a sense and try to guess at what things do to figure out what it is I'm doing. This might actually be, let's see, in this object plus NC additions, settings view controller, test HTML. My guess would be that this is a wrapper around some kind of web, probably the web object. I don't know how Macintosh or iOS applications are structured. Um, what's this mono thing? Here's the actual project file. I might as well double click on it and see what happens. Install additional components. Well, that's exciting. Hope this doesn't take a long time. It looks like it's going pretty fast. So let's take a look and see what this Xcode environment looks like. See if I can figure out how this works. So since it's an iOS app, I'm guessing there's some kind of test mode. Because I'm running this on my Mac. How do you even get it onto the iPad in the first place? I have no idea how that works. It's taking its own sweet time. Let's actually take a look at some of these files while I'm waiting for that to happen. I'll copy this over here so I can observe the process. And is this the right? No, we want to go here. Let me move this in the order I usually work in. So we have this. This is an app delegate. Interface app delegate UI responder. This looks like it's an extender, or it's declaring an interface, which would probably be some sort of API thing. And there's a window. So the H file in C is usually the thing that has all the declarations in it, and then the actual code is, I guess the .m files are what they would be, what their source files are. So Objective-C is this weird combination of object-oriented additions to C++ using a message passing metaphor. What I didn't like about it was like it uses all these weird symbols in the front of things. I'm not sure what this is. This is a type indicator. Or here's a bool. UI application did finish launching with options in this dictionary. So it's like a whole line of configuration stuff that I would have to look up to see how that works. Self, split view controller. This looks like it's casting self as a particular type, or it's a pointer type. However, UI split view controller, pointer, self, window root view controller, preferred display mode, view, blah, blah, blah. This looks like it's just setting up some, okay, what is this doing? This is all boilerplate code. That's this, an info plist. What is a plist? A property list. I think that's what these are called. And it looks like it has an XML doc type definition. And here's a whole bunch of concepts. I probably don't need to worry about this stuff. Let's look at the main file. This is where things start. Auto release pool. I think that's the name of a message. I'm sure that I forget what the @ signs are, but they're just littered all over Objective-C from what I remember. And so what it does, it invokes UI application main with the command line parameters and values, I think. Yeah, whatever it's passed to it. NS string from class, app delegate class. So where is the actual code? This looks like boilerplate stuff, or is it? NS object. More mysterious stuff. Notify now with notification name. Subscribe for notification selectors. Unsubscribe from notifications. Add observer, remove observer. I have no idea what these do, but I'm just reading them to try to form some kind of idea about how or what this is doing, or what it is intended to be, what its role is. Settings view controller, delegate settings view controller. What is a delegate in this sense? A delegate is there's a special computing term that means something specific that I'm forgetting. And this code is Web Rtc signaling. That looks like it's not part of the standard boilerplate. Properties. Are these like variables? What's an IB outlet? And it's a pointer. IP address field is a pointer to a UI text field, UI labels. Pointer declaration. I'm assuming these are pointers. Pointer declarations are always interesting to me because where do you put it on the side of the variable declaration or do you put it on the side of the type declaration? And I think people do it different ways. So anyway, I wonder if this implementation thing, that's when you're doing an override of a method. Or maybe this ties to an implementation in here. Is there something called settings view controller defined in the H file? There is. Okay, and it's declaring an interface. And it's of a type UI view controller, I think. It's hard to tell what's an Apple declaration and what's a local declaration. This is a problem with old languages, I think, or old standards. You just have to know what the pattern, what is from where. So I'm going to assume that this is this dash. I wonder what that means. Maybe I'm trying to. If you're implementing, these look like event handlers. Yeah. So if you're implementing a view controller, and maybe this is firing a view did load message, maybe this dash is a parameter thing. It calls view did load. If there is like probably the one that belongs to, let's split screen this. Layout. Oops, that's not what I wanted. View, layout, grid. So let's put the H file here, and let's put this over there. So there's a settings view controller, interface. Is this the declaring stuff? Weak? Non-atomic? There's some interesting subtleties here, I guess. View did load. Self IP address view. What's this? I'm just noticing here for the first time. IP address field, server connection label, web page URL field, producer status label. Producer is probably a Web Rtc term. That would be this thing that's providing a video feed. Web page URL, server connection label, IP address field. That's probably, I don't know. I think these are local to this particular application. Here we're seeing port 3001. Memory warning on test page tap. I guess maybe that's an iOS tap on Connect tap. On test page tap, that might be a button. IB button is an interactive button. IB action. What's an NS array? You see a lot of these NS things. That must be some sort of native data type. Null terminated string, maybe? No? NS. What would NS stand for? NS string, ports, just pointer, comps, last object. What's an interesting structure? What do the brackets mean in this language? I'm assuming this is a type, but maybe this is actually an array. But the way that this is syntax colored makes me think it's not. I wonder if the Xcode loaded. Hello. I don't see it loading. Oh wait, what's this? Well, that's not very exciting. Maybe I had to load the workspace. Okay, something happened. Oh, test WebKit frameworks. And it's red, which doesn't seem good. It says processing files up here. Cocoa class. Swift. What are these? I'm big in this. Test WebKit. I wonder if I can split the screen on this. Window, editor, navigate, view, edit. How much time have I spent on this so far? I'm 15 minutes in. I should set the timer for here so I don't spend too much time on this. But what I'm seeing so far is I'm probably getting a little bit lost in the weeds too, just kind of looking at the controls here to see what they do. What is a storyboard? I double clicked it to see if anything would open. Oh, what happened? What is a storyboard? I can't tell what this does. Signaling server disconnected settings. Oh, is this the screen layout? Can I drag this back and forth? Oh, maybe they use this for a screen view, a split view controller. This almost looks like a flowchart. So you start on the split screen controller, and there's a navigation controller and a view controller. I guess the navigation controller might be that has the buttons on it. And that's what these buttons are. And so I guess each of these might be a button. What's L? Bottom layout guide settings. A scene. Settings scene. Navigation split scene. So when you're designing an app, do you create a bunch of screens that goes to, and then each of these has its own event responders? It would be kind of similar to something like XAML, which I'm not that familiar with either, but you define a view and you drag components on it as some sort of editor, and then you wire up stuff to respond to the events. That seems to be a pretty typical model. I'm not very familiar with it, though. And I seem to be in this. Let me see if I can close this. I edited it by accident, which was probably a bad idea. Launch screen storyboard. Is this different? I'm seeing here that 7 Plus is the... Oh, there's simulators. Can I just run this? What's this error I'm getting here? Lexical preprocessor. Web Rtc H is not found. Well, that's no good. So now do I need to install that somehow? How do you install a freaking library? Well, let's just see if there's a run. I think I'll unambiggen this just so I have more windows open. So, in most IDEs, you would have some kind of build dialog. Sometimes it's in the debug window. Or it could be this play button. Oh, shell script invocation error. Pod file lock, no such file directory. Manifest lock, no such file directory. The sandbox is not a single. I don't know what the hell that means. And this missing WebRTC file is not. So there's a library that's missing, I guess, from this this project file. Whatever these invocation things are. Build. This looks like it's a drop down. What's this analyze do? Anyway, it looks like there's some missing stuff or there's additional setup I need to do. Since no instructions are provided with this, I would have to just guess. But I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time guessing because this is obviously kind of a waste of my time now. Trying to guess the intent or debug what's broken with this in an environment I'm not familiar with. But there's a saying that I like that goes in situations where you don't know what's going on or what all the parameters are. If you knew the answer, what would it be? This is from a show called The Unit a few years ago. And so if you're being adaptable, so what do I know about development environments? I know enough to recognize that when it says I can't find the file, that means it's probably not in the path or it's not accessible in some way. There's probably something here that does it. So let me do a very careful 30-second scan of menus just to familiarize myself with this. These look like regular file-related options. This workspace settings might be interesting. It is not actually under edit. This is a source file I'm in. Copy, paste, filter, sort, format, refactor. Oh. I always like seeing a good refactoring thing. Convert to current Swift syntax. Is this Swift? I thought this was Objective-C. Maybe it is Swift. I have no idea what it looks like. What does Objective-C look like? Maybe that's why it didn't quite make sense to me. Here it says the type, though, default is Objective-C, so I don't know what's up with that conversion thing. Maybe it's not a smart menu item. Standard editors, show related item, assistant editor. What's an assistant editor? Oh, version editor. Let's just see what it looks like. Oh, no, what did it do? Oh, does that mean like I'm looking at a particular file? Okay, this is somewhat like Visual Studio. You have a tab thing you can select what you're looking at. So if I were to open up this M file, is it automatically opening up the related? So settings, view, control. Yeah, it looks like it's opening assistant editors. All right, standard editors, version editors, navigators. Project navigator, symbol. I'm guessing that's what all these things are. Is this the symbol navigator? That looks like symbols. Debug area, activate console. Sure. All right. I don't know what. Let's try building it. Where did the build thing go? Was that one of these? What was that big running button? Where did it go? It was here somewhere. I think I found it here. Clear console, GPU override, source product run. Build failed. Anyway, what was I doing? I was just scanning all these menus. Finding, we don't need to navigate. Editor. Issues. Like, can you put issues right into the code editor? That's neat. It's been a while since I've used a real IDE. The last time was probably 2008? 2007 maybe? Visual Studio 2007 using C# and XNA. And it was a really nice environment. Build, clean, scheme. What's a scheme? Destination. Bot. Debug. This is all like regular, typical debugging stuff. Source control. It actually seems to be aware. It's like, it's kind of still kind of mystifying. Let me click through all these dialogues. Where was that? Where did I see that that running thing? Different layouts. What's this do? Oh, we got built-in diffing. Was that everything? Was that the entire extent of... No, this is disappointing. There aren't any more bells and whistles. All right, and let's go back here. And I guess I need to install the Web Rtc Framework somehow. I think it's red because it's missing. Or it's a sub-project. Oh, I wonder if I needed to do a... what's that git command that gets sub-repos? Does this have a sub-repo in it? Let's see. Okay. I like checking on my other screen here and trying to go to this private repo and have a look at it. Remap. Where is it? Got to reply to that. I need to reply like later. I'm looking for the address of this dumb repo. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It doesn't look like there's a sub-repo. Or is there? Web Rtc signal controller. There's I don't even see where you can add a library. In Visual Studio, I seem to recall that you would have to actually change the project settings somehow. Commit pull. Great, now I want to discard all changes because nothing I did there was on purpose. Let's see if we can pull. There's only one branch. Repo's out of date. So how do you, I guess I had to install a framework. Maybe you need to actually open them separately. Does it auto-load them? New group source control. Files a test WebKit. So I guess this is where I would actually have to do some reading. It looks like we have a couple missing libraries. And I don't know where these are supposed to come from. Or even how you install them. It's Xcode preferences, so this stuff. Behaviors, navigation, source control, components. So yeah. How much time have I spent on this? I have spent 30 minutes, and I'm going to call it. All right, so that was 30 minutes well spent determining that this is not worth looking into. I just got an email from the developer saying that they can provide us with a build anyway, so I think that's this for now. So all right, so that was my first introduction to Xcode. I don't have any idea how to use it, but even knowing that was very exciting, and I have an idea of like what was confusing about it to me. So just starting knocking those things down would start helping, I guess. Um, it's nice to know that there's a simulator built into it, but I'm curious how you get it actually installed on one of these things. I did help test some stuff once ago. I had to get something like a temporary install key, and I don't even remember how it worked. It seemed like a big pain in the butt. But I think for now, I'm going to send a reply to that and then go back to my JavaScript work and see if I can optimize this marker sprite code and improve the performance for that. So that will be my work day. Today was another wasted day, I think, or it was just a day that got away from me. But oh well. Thanks for watching. Nothing happening, but I'll talk to you later.